From the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
Arnab Goswami on The Debate at 9. Presented by Amity University. Powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group, Century Ply, TVS Euro Grip and Blue Dot.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You watch Republic because Republic does not just tell you the big stories of the day, but we also regularly expose the news stories that the other media wants to hide from you. And let me tell you tonight about one of the day's biggest news stories that the Lutyens media is hiding from you. A journalist in Srinagar called Adil Farooq has been arrested with hand grenades and explosives. He was a journalist by day and a terrorist by night, allegedly working for the Jaish-e-Mohammed. And this is not the first time that the cover of a journalist or a reporter is being used by people working in our country for terrorist groups. Last year, Siddiqui Kappan was found allegedly to be working with a PFI to incite riots in Uttar Pradesh. The entire Lutyens lobby and the pseudos came out in his defense. That's shocking. Siddiqui Kappan was also in close touch with the banned terrorist organization Simi. And these are not the only cases. There are many such cases where, using the cover of activism NGOs or human rights workers, reporters, journalists, camera persons, video journalists, anything, anti-nationals have been found to be working to incite riots in our country and promote terrorism in India. Now just imagine, viewers, just imagine the access that you get to top political figures and to the highest security establishments as a journalist. You'd get security cards, accreditation, you can walk in anywhere. Imagine how close you are to top political figures. Imagine the cover that you will get as well. If when you are found out and when you're exposed, a whole Lutyens machinery will come in your defense. And the whole Lutyens media will accuse anyone who exposes you for being a terrorist, for questioning the freedom of the press. Where is that Lutyens media today, viewers? Why don't you ask them tonight? Tell them that on Republic, Arnab is talking about a journalist who was working as a terrorist. Why aren't you making that a headline? Why aren't you debating that tonight? Anyone who exposes this journalist come terrorist kind of people will get protection. And guilds in Delhi, guilds of unemployed or unemployable editors, will issue long statements accusing anyone who targets a fake reporter who has links with Maoists or even Simi and PFI of violating the rights of the Fourth Estate. This highest form of duplicity in my views, ladies and gentlemen. These are shenanigans we must expose. So you can understand tonight why this development, the biggest story of the day, of the journalist who was working for the Jaish-e-Mohammed, is being completely covered up by the Lutyens media. I need to say no more, ladies and gentlemen. And that's my first debate tonight on Republic, the story that is going unreported elsewhere. Debate number 1 tonight, using the cover of journalists who promote terrorism in our country. Debate number 1 and debate number 2 this evening, viewers, as Vice President Venkaiah Naidu breaks down on the floor of Parliament. Where is the accountability, ladies and gentlemen? We are launching the biggest movement against Parliament hooliganism. We will be opening the lines in debate number 2, and here are the headlines this Wednesday evening on The Debate Tonight. The arrest of Adil Farooq in Srinagar puts the focus on those using journalism, NGOs and human rights as a cover for terrorism. From Siddiqui Kappan to Adil Farooq, the Lutyens media goes silent as incriminating evidence emerges on their poster boys.
Last night, I struggled to find out the provocation or reason for forcing this August House to hit such a low yesterday. A discussion on agriculture problems and solutions was listed.
Vice President Venkaiah Naidu breaks down in Parliament as opposition MPs show no remorse for the shameful and despicable behaviour on the floor of Parliament. And the Republic Media Network has launched the biggest public movement to seek accountability from those who are elected by the people but have absolutely no remorse for their actions. And ladies and gentlemen, the cover of human rights, the cover of activism, and ladies and gentlemen, most dangerously, the cover of journalism. The cover of journalism has been outrageously used time and time again to make a case for terrorism. Tonight there are 3 case studies that blow their cover. And remember, only the Republic Media Network is putting this before you. The reasons you know well. First the report and then we debate.
3 cases, 1 pattern. Tonight, India blows their cover. Case 1. On Tuesday at 2:52 p.m., 9 civilians were injured in a grenade attack at Hari Singh High Street near Srinagar's Lal Chowk. Within 1 hour 15 minutes, this man, claiming to be a journalist, was arrested with 2 grenades in the heart of Srinagar. Police sources and the dossier say he was working with the Jaish-e-Mohammed and has a Lashkar connection.
But despite a campaign by some sympathizers giving him the cover of journalism, that cover was blown. Police sources say that Adil was planning on carrying terror attacks in Srinagar on Independence Day along with 2 others who are still at large. Adil was also in touch with the officials of Pakistan government. That official has served in the finance department and was holding a very high post. Adil was getting some directions also from the Pakistan government. Meanwhile, as far as the dossier of 2019 is concerned, Adil was working for LET, the Lashkar-e-Toiba, as far as the dossier is concerned, but at presently he was the OGW for Jaish-e-Mohammed, which is also a Pakistani-based terror outfit. He was slapped with PSA and UAPA in 2019, but later was released subsequently in April 2020.
Before Adil Farooq, there was Siddiqui Kappan, who was defended by Lutyens in classic style. Siddiqui Kappan was wearing the identity of a journalist and allegedly involved in a plot to engineer unrest in Hathras. The Uttar Pradesh police says this man had links to Simi members. Case 3. And then there was Gautam Navlaka, the Lutyens celebrated so-called activist, despite his Maoist terror links. Despite investigations indicating he was in touch with Hizbul Mujahideen, and despite this defense for terrorists picking arms against the nation.
मनन वाणी जैसे को भी मजबूर कर देते हैं कि उसके सामने और कोई रास्ता उसको नजर नहीं आता है, बंदूक उठाने के सिवा. He didn't feel inspired. He did not feel that there was any hope in fighting any other way than by picking up a gun if he has to work for Kashmir.
The list is endless. NGO workers, human rights activists, and now journalists undertaking activities against India under different identities. But as the cloak of human rights, activism, and journalism falls, the entire Lutyens lobby has gone silent. Tonight, India leads the crusade against the anti-nationals. Tonight, India, let's blow their cover together. Let's debate.
So let's blow their cover together, viewers. Wills Matthew is a lawyer based in Delhi. Farooq Wani is editor-in-chief of Daily Brighter Kashmir, journalist, and Pankaj Sharma, senior journalist. Peer Vikarul Aslam, chairman of Human Rights and Relief Foundation in Kashmir. From Srinagar, Majid Haidari, journalist. Rajesh Pillai, journalist on the other side. SP Vaid, former Director General of Police, Jammu and Kashmir. Ashok Pandit, filmmaker and activist. And I'm opening tonight with Nupur Sharma, national spokesperson of the BJP and advocate in the Supreme Court. So, Pankaj Sharma, itna sannata kyun hai bhai? Why are you also quiet? I told you that there are journalists who are using the cover of journalism to support terrorist groups. You did not believe. You people built a campaign for Siddiqui Kapan. Did they not build a campaign, Nupur? Did they not build a campaign, Ashok Pandit? They built a campaign for Siddiqui Kapan. Our innocent reporter being fixed by the UP government, you said. We showed you evidence of how he was working with PFI to incite riots. We showed you evidence of his links with Simi. You said no, innocent journalist. Similarly, innocent journalist Adil Farooq Bhatt. Cover journalist. Occupation journalist. Profession terrorist. Working for the Jaish-e-Mohammed. And Nupur, they're all quiet. They're not talking about it. Tell me one Lutyens channel today which has made this a headline. In any other country today, this would have been the biggest news. If today a reporter in the USA or UK would have been found working for a proscribed terrorist organization, everybody would be debating it. In India, people like Pankaj, people like Farooq Wani, people like Wills Matthew, people like Peer Vikarul Aslam and Majid Haidari want to quietly bury this. Why? Tell me why?
No, how can you drag me into
why?
all this? People like Pankaj means what? Who supports these type of journalists? The wearing identity of journalists is nothing new by terrorists. Wearing identity of a journalist is nothing new for white-collar people involved in bank frauds. They also wear it. Wearing identity of journalists is nothing new with secret agency people. So wearing identity of journalists is a different thing. But you can't just blame the whole journalistic community for this.
One minute. Just a minute. First of all, you seem to be very used about it. First of all, you seem to be very used about it. I'm not. When Siddiqui Kapan was arrested, it was not frivolous. It was because he was planning and conspiring to instigate riots along with the PFI and the Simi. You fought for him. Why? Oh, journalists being targeted by the BJP. Didn't you say that? Didn't we tell you then? Don't build this defense. Don't let journalism, human rights, NGOs, fake activism become a cover. Did you not say when Gautam Naulaka was arrested, did you not say in the case of Father Stan Swami, the late Father Stan Swami, did you not say he was targeted? Did you not disregard the conspiracies he was accused of? Did you not do that? So don't tell me why I'm asking. I have every right to ask. I'm opening the debate with Nupur now on the debate. And everybody feel free to come in. First, Nupur.
Well, good evening, Arnab, to you, to co-panelists and to all your viewers. Let's stop. You're absolutely right. You hit the nail on its head. That how Siddiq Kapan was actually defended and called as a pallbearer of all free speech and all things good, because apparently whatever he was speaking for was in favor of, the rights of a Dalit girl in Hathras. People, including journalists from your own community, Arnab, did not actually seem to mention how links have been found. ED has filed a complaint in Delhi that Siddiq Kapan and his cohorts received roughly 1.4 crore rupees from Gulf countries. A case has been registered under PMLA in March of this year. Let's not forget that in 2020, and I want to read this out to you, a journalism student of 22, she is only 22 years old, was arrested along with a gym instructor in Pune for having links with a Kashmiri couple based out of Delhi who were known IS operatives. This 22-year-old female journalism student based out of Pune of Baramati Institute was apparently sheltering and hiring IS operatives for IS in India. And they were planning a big terror attack in the Kashmir Valley. So what are these people on about? For that matter, Arnab, I just have one thing to say. I don't want to actually train guns at your community. But when some journalists running a media house have, openly, and these are cases being heard before the Honorable Supreme Court, have multiple cases of FCRA violation, of building shell companies and doing some hawala rerouting of money through these shell companies, only because they want to save their media house. When there are raids being done on them, the matters are being admittedly heard before the Honorable Supreme Court. You had the entire journalistic community sit and protest at the press club, isn't it?
I take it further.
You know what
I take it further.
Isn't it?
I take it further.
So this is
Nupur, 1 minute. Nupur, I take it further. I take it further.
All their free speech.
No, since we are speaking freely tonight, precisely. See, since we are speaking freely tonight, Rajesh Pillai, you remember, and Ashok, you would remember, that when Parambir Singh conspired against me to put me in jail, the Supreme Court of India intervened, and Justice Chandrachud in his historic judgment talked about the weaponization of the criminal justice system, and also said, Rajesh, you'll remember, there was no prima facie case against Arnab at all. These were the observations of the Honorable Supreme Court. You remember at that point of time, despite these observations of the Honorable Supreme Court, this lobby went overactive. And it said, oh, how did Arnab get bail? And our very own, our adorable, our innocent, our poor little Siddiqui Kapan not get bail? Well, for a simple reason I'd say tonight, Rajesh Pillai, and the truth must be told, because I'm not a terrorist. How dare they? They want to draw the moral equivalence of a person who works with proscribed terrorist outfits against the interests of the country, against the sovereignty of the country, and compare it to us. And they give this cloak, Rajesh, the cloak of journalism. I say they're a black spot on journalists. They are not journalists at all. They use the cover of journalism to indulge in activities inimical to the interests of our nation. And then they use the same argument. Father Stan Swami versus Arnab. Siddiqui Kapan versus Arnab. Tomorrow they will also say, why is the poor Adil Farooq, whose only fault is that he's a member of the Jaish-e-Mohammed, why is he in jail when Arnab is a free man? This kind of stupid argument cannot be allowed anymore, and I want to speak straight tonight. And Rajesh Pillai, it's your turn. You've broken many stories. I'd like you to talk about them. And on the right-hand side is Wills Matthews, who's lawyer for Siddiqui Kapan, because we always give the other side a chance to speak. Rajesh Pillai, take it forward with Wills Matthew. And Wills, feel free to come in when you wish to.
Arnab, thank you very much. There is one point which I want to make. The large-scale infiltration into media houses by anti-national people, anti-national elements is a reality. It's not just today's arrest or Siddiq Kapan or anyone else. I broke the story of Abu Tahir. Abu Tahir in the year 2015, some 6 years back, the journalist from Kerala. And incidentally, he also worked for the same newspaper for which Siddiq Kapan later worked. And this person, Abu Tahir, you won't believe, at that time, he was working in Kerala as a journalist. Later, he went to Middle East, he went to Syria, and he joined Al-Qaeda. You know, now looking back, I feel that if Abu Tahir had decided to remain in India and carry on with his jihadi work under the garb of a journalist, he would have been safe, because it is heard that he was killed in Syria later in 2017 or 18. If he was in India, he would have been protected. There would have been people to support him. There would have been people to even finance him, knowing that he is a jihadi and he is a terrorist.
I'm telling you,
that is the kind of situation, that is the kind of atmosphere
I take it one step forward.
In India today.
No, they want to terrorize. They want to terrorize nationalists. Rajesh, let me tell you, their intentions are clear. They want to terrorize nationalists.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, Ashok, how they want to terrorize nationalists. They want to say, they want to use a moral argument. Yeah. So the greatest fault of the Republic Media Network is that it openly says that it's a nationalist network. Yeah, so because we openly say, Ashok, that we are a nationalist network, so we should be fixed. And I say, what was our fault, Ashok? Yes, we are a nationalist channel. Yes, we wear nationalism on our sleeve. What's your problem? At least we don't go around with hand grenades and pretending to be reporters and working against the country, Ashok. And Wills Matthew, why are you quiet today? Why are you quiet? Is it journalism to possess grenades? Is it journalism to work with Simi? Is it journalism to work with the PFI? Is it journalism to incite riots? Is it journalism to help Lashkar terrorists? Tell me, is it journalism or terrorism? Tell me, and then Ashok, first let Wills come in and then you can debate.
Please, I will start. Definitely. Yes, please. Without doubts, I can say that any kind of anti-national activities or terrorism is a serious offense affecting the humanity that should be dealt very seriously. But at the same time, I am finding it difficult to understand why Mr. Siddiq Kapan is labelled as a terrorist.
There is always
it is something like that. There is a finding of the court of competent jurisdiction.
There is always
competent jurisdiction.
They say Burhan Wani is a terrorist, but he was a professor's son. There is always a but with these pseudo-seculars and Lutyens media. There is always a but. He is a terrorist and he is a terrorist. There cannot be any buts and ifs. Burhan Wani was a terrorist. He killed people, but they said he was a professor's son. He cannot kill people. They have always sided. They have always.
Yeah, Ashok, let him continue. Rebut coming in. Rebut coming in from Wills Matthew, who's Siddiqui Kapan's lawyer. Yes.
Just give me 1 minute. All I want is just 1 minute. We are talking about crores. I have seen a part of the charge sheet. The only allegation against him in the charge sheet is some 25,000 rupees difference in the month of September, another 20,000 rupees differences in the month of October. But even in the court, while arguing in the Supreme Court, it was the case of the state that he was dealing with the crores of rupees.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Even it is not in the charge sheet.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
Secondly,
you're wrong, sir.
Yes,
sir, you're wrong, sir. I'll tell you. No, you're wrong, sir. And I'll get Rajesh Pillai. You'd probably, presumably know about this case. 1 minute, 1 minute. Sir, listen to me, sir. Sir, listen to me. And I now want to reason out with you. Rajesh is there. I'm sorry for making SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, wait. Mr. Vaid, I'm coming to you in a minute. It's a serious debate. And let me tell you, sir. First of all, your client, Siddiqui Kapan, has a right to your defense, as you do to provide a defense for him. But the unassailable facts must be presented before you with precision and accuracy. And we must not be allowed to skim over them, saying my client is a journalist. Please let me bring this fact before you. Any journalist, Rajesh Pillai, me, or anyone, or Farooq Wani, if you're working for a terrorist organization, and if you have linked with terrorist groups, or if it is proven that you are a terrorist supporter, you cannot claim the cover of freedom of the press to say, I have a journalistic right to indulge in occasional terrorism. So please understand, let's separate the two. In that case, no journalist can claim any immunity from this fact. As far as your client is concerned,
exactly,
you are well aware that he was in close touch with people who are office bearers of the banned terrorist organization Simi. Are you or are you not aware of that fact? Now, if somebody were to turn around and say, so what if I was in touch with members of a terrorist organization? I was doing that in my role as a journalist. I would turn around, Rajesh Pillai, and say, but in your role as a journalist, with your identity as a journalist, you can also get access to high security establishments, to places where you have no business being. And if you want to incite riots and you're not supposed to be in any place, you can go and say that I'm doing reportage, so you use the alias, disguise, camouflage, mukhota, shadow of journalism to carry out acts of terrorism. Let's not lionize these people as journalists. Don't do this. And please, Wills,
exactly,
let me also tell you, people are smart, people are watching this tonight. It has happened before. There are no ifs and buts here. It has happened before. Tell me why is there, you tell me, Wills, why is there pin drop silence in the case of this Kerala, of this Kashmir,
yes, I will say.
of this Kashmir journalist Adil Farooq Bhatt?
As far as Kashmir journalist is concerned, I have no information at all. But as far as Kapan is concerned, he went to the extent of making a statement before the competent court stating that instead of taking voice tests, take my narco analysis test, take my brain mapping test.
Rajesh Pillai,
in case of a
Rajesh Pillai, Ashok Pandit, who else is coming in? No.
Let me complete. Give me 1 minute.
Sir,
Let me give me 1 minute. Because in case of a conflict between...
No, you are trying to whitewash him. You are trying to whitewash him. You are trying to simplify the case. You are trying to simplify the case, quoting the difference of 25,000 rupees and all. It is against... You are trying to simplify the case against Kapan. I am sorry, sir. I can't agree with you there. There are other instances where Kapan has been into anti-national activities. There are his journeys, his travels to Georgia and South Africa, which are under suspicion, which have to be probed. You are trying to whitewash a guy who was working for PFI and who had connection with
and
you say that he is a journalist.
Correct. And let me tell you the dangers.
He was working? For which organization he was working?
We must also... No, we must also make another point, not just about Siddiqui Kapan. We must make another point. What are the dangers of looking away or the dangers of political pressure being put? One special guest tonight is SP Vaid, former DGP of Jammu and Kashmir, very, very respected and experienced police officer. Mr. Vaid, everybody is watching tonight, and Peer Vikarul Aslam and Farooq Wani and Majid have not spoken. I want them to come in after you finish. But before you come in, Farooq, you know, Majid knows, Peer Vikarul Aslam knows that this man pictures on the screen, and his name is Adil Farooq Bhatt. He's about 27 years old. Qualification, MA Mass Communications. Journalist with some news agency. Arrested in 2019 as well. The danger, SP Vaid. The man had been arrested in 2019 as well, and now on the eve of Independence Day was going to carry out a terrorist attack. He's a journalist. He could have been anywhere. Using his card of journalism, he can walk into anyone's office, Chief Minister, DGP, anyone's office out there. Imagine how dangerous it would be, viewers. Imagine how dangerous potentially this man is. And I want you to tell all our viewers tonight, SP Vaid, how you had caught him when you were DGP and what happened after that. He'd actually been caught, and there was pressure put, and SP Vaid will reveal tonight what had happened when this man had been caught in 2019.
Good evening, Arnab. Generally, you know what happens when such people work as overground workers of terrorist outfit, whether it is Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed, it is difficult to find evidence against them, and that becomes handicap of the security forces or the local police, and that is why he in 2019. Before he was arrested, he was under the scanner of J&K police for many months, and we knew very clearly that he was helping as a OGW, Lashkar and Jaish, and because of lack of evidence, he had to be detained under Public Safety Act, because otherwise in the court you have to produce evidence. You need to have a digital evidence or documentary evidence or visual evidence, which is hard to find in such cases. So he was detained under Public Safety Act, which was quashed by the courts later on. And he is a journalist student from Central University of Kashmir.
So the pictures, please.
So from this, you can imagine how these sections of some of the people in the journalism and in the universities have been tapped by our friends sitting across ISI agents, and
we
they
stay
are
with the pictures.
Using their cover. Now, can you imagine with a PIB accreditation, he could have an access to any high security place, whether it is Raj Bhavan, any other highly secure place. Let's say Rahul Gandhi is visiting Kashmir. He could go there with a request for interview. So generally, policemen avoid the frisking of journalists because they get offended very. And journalists and lawyers have a very strong network of their sympathizers and supporters. So generally, I'm talking of the policemen. They avoid being little rough with this particular breed. So using journalist cover, this man was actually operating as a terrorist, and he was caught just few yards away from the place where grenade was lobbed, and 10 civilians were injured. Now, what about his moral responsibility towards the people of Kashmir and towards the people of country, which he was supposed to be doing, discharging his duty as a journalist with the privileges of journalist.
Which means potentially, Majid, don't shake your head. This is a reality. Don't shake your head. Which potentially means, Majid, before you speak, that this man was involved in a terrorist attack earlier in which civilians had been injured. Pressure had been put by the Hurriyat and by some pseudos to release him. The man gets released. Nupur, look at the sequence of events. He remains undercover for 2 years. God knows how many terrorist incidents he's been involved in. If you would question him even once, people like Majid Haidari would come and say, attack on the freedom of the media. And even tonight, viewers, I want you to check tonight. Ask everyone, why is this entire big breaking news story being covered up by every other Lutyens channel? Even now, they think it can be covered up.
Now, can I get a chance
Potentially, this man could have killed many people, injured many people in the last 2 years that he's been free.
Now, can I get
Why,
a chance
Majid?
to speak?
Why don't you protest about it?
You are the mere recovery of arms and ammunition does not make you a terrorist necessarily.
Terrorist attacks.
We have seen the black sheep in Mumbai police planting vehicle outside Antilla. Now, what if the same black sheep had planted some weapons in your vehicle? Would it make you a terrorist? No. It is something for the law to decide. But my point here is that do we have plenty of arms and ammunition in Naya Kashmir that a man can put that as accessories in his backpack and move around? No. Do we have...
He's defending him tonight. Majid is defending the terrorist tonight. Majid is defending the terrorist tonight.
Pistol lelo. Nupurji, what is happening? Do you have a mandi of arms and ammunition?
He's also defending Sachin Waze and Parambir tonight. He's defending Sachin Waze and Parambir tonight. And he's defending the terrorists as well tonight. Viewers, watch this. Watch it.
I want to respond to this factually, please. I want to respond to this logically and factually, please, Arnab. The fact that a journalist, hardly 27 years of age, was caught with grenades is rather very incriminating. But let's not also forget this very gentleman was arrested 2 years ago. Allow me to please complete, sir. I did not speak. This is something you need to be answerable for.
The nation wants to know
I want to please make my point.
I
please want to make a point.
Farooq Wani, on the right. Nupur continues.
I will answer as I want to.
What are the security forces doing?
In 2019, this very journalist, Arnab, you have to allow me to please speak. This is not the way this debate can go on.
Arnab, just give me a chance.
Okay, let Nupur.
Arnab, just give me a chance to speak.
No, Farooq Wani, let Nupur complete. I'm coming to you, Farooq Wani, after that.
Just give me a chance to speak.
After Nupur, Farooq Wani, after Nupur, but. After Nupur, I will come to you, Mr. Wani.
Those who are heckling me, सच में भजिया बेचने आए हैं क्या? This is the level of intelligence to come on this debate and speak. Allow the other person. It's a decent debate. Everybody is getting chances to speak. Why do you heckle somebody else? That means you have no legs to stand on. My small point simply is this. 2 years ago, this very gentleman was arrested under PSA. You know why? Because he was accused of giving a free pass under his press card to militants and journalists alike. He was also accused of helping them do a recce, on-ground recce. He was also accused of using his press card in ensuring that armaments were actually transported cross-border. These are the accusations under PSC he was arrested in 2019 when lots of brouhaha was made. Now here is a journalist, allow me one sentence, sir. One sentence.
Yes.
Here is a journalist found with live grenades.
Arnab,
I just have
Arnab,
a simple,
just
small
give me a chance because you are running the time.
I have a small comparative point to make. In Delhi, in the heart of the capital of India, Arnab, journalists came out on a limb protesting in favor of those so-called disgruntled students, asking for violent balkanization of this country.
Right.
Remember JNU 2016?
Absolutely.
You remember?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Till date are trying to make a
Absolutely, I'll take it forward from there. No, I'll take it forward from there. The hypocrisy of people who claim to be, I'm not part of any community, that speaks against the nation. For me, I'll tell you, Farooq Wani, my point is simple. Ashok Pandit will debate with you. Ashok, be quiet. I want to get Farooq Wani in. My point is simple. I'll say one thing. I'll tell you. These self-appointed thekedars of journalism are nobody to represent us. Point number 2. I'm saying if you're not a nationalist, you cannot be a journalist. Third, a prerequisite to being a journalist in this country is to be a nationalist. Four, let me remind you, Farooq Wani, that when some people in JNU said, Bharat tere tukde honge, inshallah, inshallah, when they said, and when questions were raised that a campaign happened, then the same Lutyens media started walking. They started walking on the streets of central Delhi and New Delhi saying violation of the rights of the freedom of the press. And now, Ashok, when a journalist has been killed by terrorists, and today there is a journalist masquerading as a journalist who's actually a terrorist. There's another journalist who's supporting Maoist groups and the PFI and the SIMI. And why aren't you taking out a march on this? Farooq Wani as a senior journalist, doesn't it shock you?
I've seen this strategy of theirs.
Yes, Farooq Wani.
Just listen to me. Arnab,
Farooq Wani.
Arnab, just
Farooq Wani on the debate.
Arnab, you cannot blame everyone.
All those people
you are sitting there in the cozy studio. If you will come to the Kashmir, you will assess the situation. As a journalist, I think you have organized this show to defend yourself. But one thing, this is a clear, loud and clear. If you will come to Valley and if you assess the situation, then the situations are very different here. You cannot blame everyone. There are a lot of people. There is no mechanism. How there are people are running here portals and other things. How you can corrupt their activity when there is no mechanism? And if one has done a mistake,
curb their activities. 1 minute.
You cannot
1 minute.
put everyone to
1 minute. Mr. Wani.
Mr.
Wani. Mr. Wani, I want to respond to you. Mr. Wani, I want to respond to you.
Yes.
I want to respond to Mr. Wani. I want to respond to Mr. Wani, and Peer Vikarul Aslam can also be on the debate. I want to debate with both of you. And I'll ask you this. You say, Arnab, you are sitting in your cozy studio. You are defending yourself. No, sir. I'll tell you, we have hundreds of reporters on the ground. Most of my career has been as a reporter, right? And I'm a reporter at heart. But please, sir, though you're very senior, please don't teach me journalism, sir. You're very senior, I respect you. But I don't need to learn journalism from you, sir. I'll tell you one thing. If you are...
Situation here in Kashmir is very different.
So I'll also make you understand.
How does it
No, I'll also make you understand, sir. Sir, I'll say, 1 minute, sir, 1 minute. No, 1 minute now, because I speak straight, they don't like me. Because I speak straight, they don't like me. Rajesh, I will not take lectures in journalism from people who support Siddiqui Kapan. I will not take lectures in journalism from people who are apologists for Siddiqui Kapan. I will not.
Journalism is not a passport to have possession of grenades, Arnab.
None.
No, I'm
you have to give everybody a mandate to speak. But while you are just screaming. You are screaming.
Need to possess grenades.
Why so?
The same brush.
If
you can hear me, you cannot paint everyone with the same brush. I don't know if my audio is coming to you. You cannot paint everyone with the same brush. Don't threaten the lives of journalists by doing this propaganda against the fraternity in Kashmir.
Okay, 1 second. 1 second. 1 minute.
For Qazi Shibli. Pirzada
Pir Vikarul Aslam. Pir Vikarul Aslam, 1 minute.
You have no
Pir Vikar, Nupur, 1 minute. Can I bring some order into the debate? This is getting too. No. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. I tell you one thing. 1 minute. Nupur, 1 minute. Nupur, 1 minute. Let me take it forward. Pir Vikarul Aslam, sorry for coming to you late. I mean no disrespect. To my senior colleague Farooq Wani when I say I don't need to learn journalism from him. But that is my established view. But I will say this. Now we have many weapons. I have 4 in my hand.
Arnab, just go
a
to
green,
my
a blue, a red and a black pen.
I am not.
I don't carry 4 grenades. I carry 4 pens.
Yeah.
Simple. Second point, is it journalism to possess 2 grenades? Exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes after a grenade attack injures 9 civilians in the heart of Srinagar? Is it journalism to work with the Jaish-e-Mohammed? Let me complete. Is it journalism to help Lashkar terrorists? Is it journalism to be part of a terrorist attack before Independence Day? Is it journalism to be in touch with high-profile Pakistani officials? Tell me, the nation wants to know. Tell me why you're in touch with Pakistani officials, the nation wants to know. Why? Tell me, Pir, I want to hear you.
Screaming is not a solution to anything.
Pir is on the debate.
When you're leaked WhatsApp
one of them I can't hear both. Pir first.
New sensitive data even before it occurred. Shouldn't OSA be applied on you? Shouldn't you be under PSA and you?
Now you put the Pakistani argument. Now that's an argument. No, I'll tell you one thing. I'm sorry. I want to now speak to you. 1 second. 1 second. Farooq Wani.
It's a fact.
Farooq Wani, I'll tell you this. Farooq, now listen to me, sir. Listen to me, Farooq. Listen to me. 1 second. I am so happy. I'm so happy, Ashok Pandit, that Farooq Wani on my program takes the same line that the ISI, Ashok Pandit and Imran Khan took against me.
Yeah.
Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan,
correct.
The ISI and the Vadra Congress said allegedly that Arnab felt that India will hammer Pakistan. Now, I would say, Farooq, I'm taking you on. It is my pleasure to take you on. It is my pleasure to destroy any remaining fragment of your illogical argument. Now listen to me now. Don't be afraid. Come on, sir. Please come on air. Please come on. I want Farooq Wani and Ashok Pandit on the screen, then I will debate. Farooq, first you'll be quiet and I'll debate. I'll debate with you now, Farooq. Farooq Saab, it is your turn now, sir. Now let me respond to you. Farooq Saab, let me respond to you. Don't be touchy. Don't be touchy. I'm asking you a question. Don't mind my question. I'm a direct man. Don't mind my question, I'm a direct man.
Yeah.
All right. You are the editor-in-chief of Daily Brighter Kashmir. Is it a website or a newspaper?
Yes.
Tell me.
It's a newspaper, a website, everything is there.
And funded by whom? Who's funding this website?
Everything. Okay, now 1 minute. Ashok Pandit, let me. Ashok Pandit, 1 minute. No, 1 second. I'm not getting there. What I'm simply asking him, tell me, and try to think, Farooq Wani. Have you ever been in touch?
Yes.
With, ever, at any point of time, been in touch with high-profile officials from Pakistan?
You are asking me? Hello?
Of course. You're the only person on the screen now.
Hello?
Yes, of course I'm asking you.
Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Tell me. Hello?
You didn't hear my question? How come the audio went suddenly? I'm asking you again. Try to think and remember.
Yeah. You just tell me.
At any point of time in your professional career, have you been very closely in touch with any high-profile Pakistani officials?
No. Hello?
Never.
Hello?
Never.
Hello? Yeah. Never. Never ever.
So why was Adil closely in touch? The nation wants to know, Ashok. Why was Adil closely in touch?
See.
Why did this so-called reporter, why was he in touch with top Pakistani functionaries? No. I'm asking you. Answer me. Answer me.
Someone here has told me who is funding this website, who is funding this. Government of India is giving me the advertisement, and my paper is one of the best paper in Kashmir. If you will go to my articles, you will find what type of articles I am writing, and there is not only one.
The question is not that, Farooq Wani. Farooq Wani, the question is not that. The question is why did Adil Farooq need to be in touch? If you don't need to be in touch, then why did Adil Farooq need to be in touch? Why did Adil Farooq need to be in touch with Pakistani officials and carry grenades? That's the question right now. Why was he harboring terrorists? Why was he hatching a criminal conspiracy to undertake terrorist activity? Why was he part of an Independence Day terror attack plot? Why was he helping Lashkar terrorists? Why was he working with the Jaish-e-Mohammed? Why was he providing logistical support to terrorist groups in different parts of the Kashmir Valley? Tell me, sir.
Journalist award. There are a lot of journalists who are now. He's wrong.
I am asking you about Adil, not about you. I am asking about Adil. Don't change the subject. Why were you supporting Adil? You'll have to tell me. You said you know the difficulties of being a journalist in Kashmir.
No, I have never supported.
I am asking you, what does that have to do with the fact that he was planning a terrorist attack? Tell me.
You cannot blame everyone who is working.
Why aren't you taking out marches against journalists who have links with terrorist groups? Tell me.
No.
Take out marches, sir, if you're a senior journalist, your responsibility to do so.
I have never told you, Adil. I have never supported Mr. Adil. I am telling you, you cannot blame everyone who is working on the ground.
Good then.
It is very tough to work. If you come to there is a dangling. This word is
no. 1 minute. Not about everybody else. My question is very weak attempt and my very weak attempt being made on the program. Once again, Ashok Pandit, you saw Rajesh Pillai. Very weak attempt. I must say. Very ill-timed attempt. Very poor attempt by Rajesh Pillai. You saw very poor attempt, Nupur, by Farooq Wani to avoid the question of why any journalist needs to be in touch with terrorist groups. He gave out his biodata. I never asked him. I said if he didn't need to be in touch with any Pakistani officials, why did Farooq need to be? But he tried to twist the question. Very poor attempt to twist the question and misrepresent facts, sir. And avoid my question. Very poor one.
No. I have never been touched any official who is belonging to Pakistan. How you can say?
Sir, while you didn't find the need, you
understood the question on the other side, Pankaj.
With any Pakistani terrorists, Delhi-based journalists actually gave away positions of posts during the Kargil war and also during 26/11, which led to more people being killed in terrorist attacks. I don't want to name and shame journalists, but they have been truer and more loyal to Pakistani cause of terrorism than to cause of humanity in India. And that's not hidden from anybody. This everybody knows. They were more interested, Indian journalists sitting in Delhi were more interested in giving out positions of our army men, defending our sovereignty. I'm sorry, I don't want to say too much on this channel.
People tell me, people ask me what can be worse than the, people ask me, Nupur.
By terrorists, people in journalism. Just because you have a pen does not mean you can convert it into an AK-47 and a grenade. By that very logic, Arnab should be having an entire room full of AK-47s to defend himself against the mass.
And people ask me,
what kind of logic is that?
People ask me very often, what can be more, 1 minute, 3 points. People ask me very often, what can be worse than being caught in the Radia tapes? And I say many things can be, but the most embarrassing and disgraceful thing for anyone would be, worse than that would be being told that they are the favorite journalist of Hafiz Saeed. And then some people ask me, Ashok, what is worse than that as well? I say worse than that as well is revealing the location of our own soldiers when your country is at war with Pakistan. And there are very few people who have the honor of all three. I won't name them. The nation knows